Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So if you watched the episode yesterday, I mentioned at the end of the show we hadn't got all the testing in. There was a likelihood that we would never see Tyreek Hill play for the Dolphins again, and that his injury would be catastrophic. Hoping for the best, I knocked on wood, and we found out today that it was worst case scenario. He did have a knee dislocation, but he also had multiple ligament damage, including his ACL. He had surgery today. He's going to be out for the rest of the year. And the idea, according to Drew Rosenhaus, is that he'll be ready for the beginning of next year. I'll be 100% honest. I don't care what Drew Rosenhaus says. He's an agent. He's trying to sell his player. He's trying to get Tyreek a contract. I don't have actual beef with Drew Rosenhaus. I don't like the way Drew does business. All right? This is, you can call me biased. You can say whatever you want to say. I think Drew's lying. Let me just put it 100% out. We're 5 weeks into the year. I mean, yes, you can recover from an ACL surgery in about 9 months, but like depending on how much more damage is in there, they said ligaments. I don't know. I didn't see specifics, so it could be MCL, PCL. Depending on how many ligaments there are, that extends the recovery time. This could be a Sean Livingston kind of situation, if you know that reference from basketball, where it took him years to get back in the NBA. He didn't come back immediately. They thought he would never play again. Now, he did get back in the league, and he ended up being a pretty solid player, a couple-time champion, but, I mean, he could have lost his career. Tyreek is a smaller, fast-twitch, explosive athlete who now has a major knee reconstruction ahead of him. Yes, could he play week one? Of course he could. I mean, he might be a fast healer. We haven't seen him. I thought he wasn't totally healthy last year after the knee surgery. He'll have a whole offseason to get ready. He's also going into a year where he's trying to earn a job. So I'm guessing he would have to, at some point, show in the spring, maybe early summer, him running. Like, he can't just be like, oh, I'm on schedule, and then we don't see you do anything on the field, because how could we sign you without knowing if you can play? I think I do my fear first and what I think is actually going to happen. My fear is that Tyreek is going to be so desperate to get back on the field because he wants to get that next big contract that he might come back early and re-injure something. That's my fear. I don't want that. I like Tyreek. I don't want him to do that. But I know he's at the end of his career. He'll be 32 next year. Last big contract, which he might be on a 1-year deal next year, depending on how teams do. But he wanted basically a 2 to 3 year contract near top of the market, and then probably at 34, 35, I'm basically out. Because the minute he's not super fast anymore, then I don't think his value is that high. Now he's looking at maybe a 1-year deal, decent base number, maybe like 15, 20, and then some incentives. If you get 1,000 yards, you play this many games, you make a Pro Bowl, All Pro, what have you. I can't see any team committing off rip 70 million, 100 million. I just don't see it without seeing him do extensive explosive drills, not in a knee brace. If the top end speed is still near 23 miles an hour, then maybe. But if he looks hobbled or gimpy at all, I just don't see it. It'll be a bad investment because you're also taking all the other Tyreek stuff in addition to the fact he's coming off an injury. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. As for the Dolphins, I think he's played his last game with the Dolphins. And it's very sad that he went out this way. He was working his way back, trying to be a captain. He has a ton of off the field stuff, and I feel like he was doing a decent job compartmentalizing it. He was having a really good game against the Jets, and we were like trying to build towards something. All year, though, people were saying, this is volatile. He's going to get traded. He's going to blow up on somebody. And we never got to that point. And it didn't seem like, honestly, yeah, he had a couple sideline blow-ups, but that was passion. I didn't see him go at Tua and be like, you got to throw me the ball. He was just like, yo, what we doing, man? Let's go. Like, I'm fine with anybody who cares that much about the game being mad. My favorite, speech of that nature is Ed Reed in the locker room for the Miami Hurricanes when they were, I think they were up by 14 at halftime. And he was so mad the game was that close. He was like, hey, come on, man. Like, he was just like, what are we doing? Y'all trying to win or not? I love Ed Reed, so I had to plug him into the show. But I do think we've seen the last of Tyreek, barring him taking an unbelievable hometown discount, which, again, I don't think he'll do. We do have to reconcile his legacy, which we'll do down the line. But for now, we wish you the best. They said the surgery went really well. Doctors did. And there were no complications. He has no nerve issues. The blood flow is good. The surgery went in the right time frame. They repaired everything. No need to get a second surgery as of now, which is as good a news as you can get. So we wish Tyreek a speedy recovery. Um, and we'll talk about his legacy with the Dolphins soon. Now that he's out, though, we have an emergence of a number one receiver. We have Jaylen Waddle. Now, for those of you who've been with me for a long time, you know I predicted well in the offseason with no Tyreek injury that Jaylen Waddle by the end of the year would be our number one receiver. I just thought the team would start gearing us towards that because I never thought we were going to re-sign Tyreek. So you have to get Waddle used to being the one receiver. Otherwise, he goes in the offseason playing a two for the last 3 years. And then all of a sudden, I'm one now. Like, we got to get some live game reps of you as a one receiver. So now we've been forced into it. Jaylen Waddle's had a shoulder injury most of the year, so I still don't think he's had a great game yet. But y'all know I'm a big-time Jaylen Waddle fan, all the way from Alabama. And I don't know how healthy he is because every week he's on the injury report, kind of questionable, and then he plays. So I don't think he's fully healthy yet. I know when you're a number one receiver, you're going against number one corners. I look forward. He's going to go against J.C. Horn this week. And then we'll see down the line him against Jalen Ramsey. We'll see him against Denzel Ward. We're going to find out who Jaylen Waddle is. I believe in Jaylen. I think he is a low-end wide receiver one. And low-end is, relative. It's 32 wide receiver ones. And realistically, it's like 20. There are a lot of teams that you're like, who's your one receiver? Like, is Ted McMillan a number one receiver? Like, no. But he's their number one. So there's things like that. Then you got the top number ones. You got the Puka Nakuas, who's obviously a number one. The Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson's, like those guys. There's like Nico Collins, who are like, they do number one work. And then there's teams where it's like, I guess Michael Pittman's the number one. But really, Tyler Warren is probably the number one at this point. Jaylen Waddle, to me, is like, he's in that category. To me, he's not in the top 5, 7 echelon of people. But if you say, like, he's not as good as CeeDee Lamb is, but he might be as good as, he might be on par. Like, Drake London is the number one for Atlanta. I think you can, either one of those guys score. Drake London's a different player. He's bigger. He's more of a, like, throw the ball down the field kind of guy. But I think their production can be comparable. So, now that Jaylen's the number one, and he doesn't have Tyreek doing all Tyreek stuff, which is taking the top off of defenses, which is commanding, a safety over the top. With the added attention to Jaylen Waddle, is he going to step up to the plate? It's a good question. I think he has a skill set to do it. I haven't seen it in years. So this may be wish casting. I think I'm saying that right. This may be wish casting, but I think Jaylen Waddle could be a number one. I don't think he'll be the number one where he's far and away better than our number 2 and 3 options. I think he'll be the number one, meaning he will get the most targets, but I think that's going to be like 8 to 10 a game. I don't think he'll get those 15 to 17 targets that Puka, Jefferson, and Chase and those kind of guys get. I don't think he's on that tier. I think he'll get 8 to 10 targets, maybe like a Cortland Sutton type number one receiver for the Broncos, where he's not number one in the sense of those other guys. But very good receiver. I think we just signed Cedric Wilson again today. I have always loved Cedric Wilson. I don't know why we got rid of him. I've always thought he was a very solid receiver. He was always a big-time catch guy across the middle, really good on third down. I like Cedric Wilson. He will probably have to work his way back off the practice squad or whatever. Y'all know Malik Washington is like a guy for us. We're very high on that. I still don't think we'll get a big Darren Waller week-by-week increase yet. I think he's still weeks away from getting real like touches. But Nick Westbrook-Akine, this is your time. Like, Nick was one of our first signings, 2-year signing. He's supposed to be our big play, down the field, big receiver guy. This is his time to shine. So I think Jaylen Waddle will be the number one receiver, obviously. Tua has chemistry with him. They play together in college. We know what that is. But I don't think Waddle's number is going to go from 4 catches, 50 yards a game, to 10 catches, $120. I think he'll be in that 7, 8 catches, 75 to 90 yards a game, maybe a tutty. And then I think Tua's going to like spread it around the field. And we'll get into more Tua stuff in a second. But I don't believe, like, if you have him in fantasy, good. There should be a bump. I think you can expect a little bit more money. But I don't think he's going to emerge to the level where it's like, oh, man, like Tyreek, when he was the number one receiver, was arguably the best receiver in the league. I don't think Waddle has that. Because Waddle, to me, as fast as he is, doesn't always play super fast. I'm not sure why. It may be by virtue of being the number 2. It may be the fact that Tyreek was on the field. But even when Tyreek has been hurt, I feel like Waddle plays really fast in spurts. I feel like Tyreek always plays fast. And so it looks like he's always just like flying past people. Waddle can run past most people in the league. But I feel like I don't see him do it enough. And maybe just the offense has changed. Maybe we haven't asked him to do so. Maybe he's lost a step. I don't think so. He seems young enough for that. He doesn't have any lower leg injuries at the moment. So I'm really curious to see how we unlock him now. But I am a Jaylen Waddle fan. So I'm going to believe that he's going to emerge. And my goal for him for the rest of the year is, can he make it to the Pro Bowl? Jamar Chase probably won't make it this year because of the awful quarterback play in Cincinnati right now. Nico Collins, we'll see. I mean, he's always very good, but that team is terrible too. I don't know. I think if Jaylen Waddle balls out for the last, 12 games of the year, I think it's 13 games. It's totally on the board. 1,300 yards, 10, 12 touchdowns. That's what I wanted for him. Even with Tyreek, that gets him in the Pro Bowl. So if my goal and prediction for Jaylen Waddle, let's try to get to the Pro Bowl. And of course, let's win some games and all that stuff. But individually, I think that's where he should be trying to aim for. Now, we have a Tua conversation because part of the issue this year is that Tua hasn't been probably the best leader and has not been particularly good at protecting the ball or good in the clutch. But we've tried to build a team around him in such a way that we don't need him to do more than we ask him to do. Now your number one receiver is out, and Tyreek Hill really is the engine that drives his offense. We need more from Tua. And the question really has to come up, can Tua elevate the team around him? Can Tua raise his game? It's a real question. Can Tua raise his game? We don't know. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen him go 13 games without Tyreek Hill. We haven't seen the offense have to build around Jaylen Waddle and Malik Washington and Nick Westbrook, and we haven't seen this happen before. We haven't seen Tua know, I don't have my security blanket. I can't just throw the ball 50 yards down the field and say, go find the ball. I got to orchestrate. I got to organize. I got to get out of the huddle on time. Oh my God, get out of the huddle on time. Can he do it? Because that's what we pay him to do. We didn't pay you to just be the point guard where you just say, here you go, Jaylen. Here you go, Tyreek. Y'all take it from here. He is a quarterback. He is the highest paid guy on the team. He's a captain. He's a leader. We paid you for this moment right now. And we didn't want this moment. No one wanted Tyreek to get hurt. But this is why Tua's here. This is why you're the highest paid guy on the team. We need you to step up at this moment. And honestly, I think Tua should play like Drew Brees played. I've always thought that was the comp, and not just because they're both similar height and weight and stuff. It's just Drew Brees could probably throw the ball between 60 and 65 yards in his heyday. But I don't remember him throwing the ball really more than 40 yards. I know he did a couple times, of course. He played for a long time. But I feel like most of his work was just pre-snap, make the read, make the throw, and then in late game, fourth quarters, whatever, he just moved the team down the field. He was the emotional leader. He was the guy that got the rah-rah going in the huddle. And he just did his job. He was meticulous. Super accurate in between the tackles, especially in between the lines, which is where Tua excels. He was never super tall. I don't remember a lot of Drew Brees balls being knocked down, and he wasn't as probably turnover prone as Tua is. But I felt like there was a trust in Drew Brees that, we had Michael Thomas at his highest level. We had Marquise Colston for a time. You had Jimmy Graham for a time. All those guys came and went, got hurt, came back. We had Devery Henderson and a bunch of, I don't know why I know so many Saints players, but he had a bunch of different guys come and go from the offense. And I always felt like no matter who was there, Benjamin Watson, he would make it work because that's what he was. It was yes, it works better if I can throw the ball to Jimmy Graham and say, go get it because Jimmy Graham is giant. Of course. When Michael Thomas was just arguably the best receiver, second best receiver in the league for a couple of years, 1,600 yards, he was always open, but the ball was always just perfectly placed. And he just led the team. What I think Tua should be going forward, I still think we should run the ball a majority of the time. I'm not off that running the ball 60-40 split. I think Tua should be aiming for a 20 to 25, that's his passing percentage, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns a game. That's where I need Tua. No turnovers. Stop that. That's what I need from Tua. If he's accurate, third down accurate specifically, we should be around 40 to 50% third down conversions, stay on the field, move the ball down the field, very least get some field goals, ideally score touchdowns, super accurate. Again, 2 touchdowns on average, sometimes 3. Occasionally could be 1 if we just hand the ball off a lot. And then don't turn the ball over. If Tua does that for the rest of the year, I think we'll win a fair number of games. I don't know if we'll make the playoffs. He may have to elevate to like a 3 touchdown a game kind of performance. But if he can make the guys on the team that aren't Jaylen Waddle look like viable receivers, I think Malik Washington should be getting 5-6 catches a game, in between the tackles. I think Darren Waller should get a few targets a game. I think Nick Westbrook should get a couple of games. I think he's going to spray it around the field. You most likely will see 5 or 6 receivers with between 3 and 5 catches. That's what I'm thinking. I think Jaylen Waddle will have 6 or 7, and you will see 3 for Achane in the backfield, 3 for Darren Waller, 2 for Cedric Wilson. It's going to just be boom, 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 boom. And it's going to be very much wide receiver by committee. And Tua's job is to get the most out of all those guys. Jalen's the guy. He's the joker now. Jalen's the guy you can throw a slant to, and one missed tackle, he could be out of there. 80 yards. Everybody else, you got to put the ball on Cedric. You got to put the ball where Nick can get it. You got to give the ball to Malik where he can catch it and make a move. You got to feed Achane out of the backfield. Can't throw it behind him. Can't throw it too far in front of him. It's got to be on point. You got to lead the team. Achane also has that breakaway speed, but you got to feed him. So I think Tua will give his best shot. And if we protect him, I think he can. But we'll see if we can protect him. Speaking of protection, you see that segue? You see that? Stupid. Speaking of protection, the offensive line had easily their best game Monday night. Easily. Tua was not sacked in the game. I didn't think I could even say that for a game. Now, a couple times, Tua did a lot of maneuvering where he probably should have been sacked. He did a pirouette and then threw the ball away one time. One time, he climbed the pocket almost like Frogger. He went here, up, cut here, and then tried to make a throw. I was like, you going crazy, Tua. And he ran 3 times, which theoretically could have been sacks had he just stayed in the pocket. But let's put those to the side. The O-line did their job. They ran block well enough that we could run the ball, and they protected Tua. There's a number of times that Tua went back in the pocket, loaded, and you can see him going through reads. And not oh God, they're trying to tackle me. He looked relatively comfortable. And I was shocked by that. I was like, oh my God, is that space? Can Tua step up can he there's one time where Tua was in the pocket so long, he directed the receiver, hey, you go block that guy and then let me run. And that's the time he almost got murdered on the field. But the idea that he had enough presence of mind, look around, but nobody's open. Oh, I got a lead blocker and then could then go run. He hasn't had that kind of time all year. It's been, oh, they're running after me. Let me try to scramble. Throw the ball away. For him to have enough field space to feel comfortable running, and wasn't really, he wasn't even running for his life. He was running to get yards. Right? They played good. And honestly, let's give some more to Patrick Paul, man. I think Patrick Paul has been very solid at left tackle. I've given him props after a couple games. I know he had a couple Buffalo mishaps, but overall, he has filled in well. I know people were very low on him. They're like, we should have drafted a left tackle in the first round. You should have got X, Y, and Z. You should have got Kelvin Banks or whoever it was. He's been good. The right side, to me, has not been great, and that's where a lot of the pressure did come from in the game, where Tua had to spin out and step up and elude. But they did well enough. They hung on. And again, we should be getting Austin Jackson back soon. So they hung on enough to let Tua do what he does. But Patrick Paul has been more than serviceable at left tackle. And I don't think a lot of people has given him that kind of credit yet, because they were very low on him going into this year. He was rated, he wasn't great last year when he filled in, but he was filling in at different positions, and he hadn't really got the practice reps. He's been a serviceable left tackle to a above average left tackle up to this point. And we know Brewer is always great. It's the guards where we should be seeing some emergence, and until Daniels gets back, we don't really have our guards set in place yet, but Jonah was better in this game as well. So I don't know if this was a consequence of Monday Night Football, the whole world's watching. The Jets aren't great, because the Jets still had Quentin Williams in there, and he's still a big, big boy. One of the best interior linemen in the game, and he didn't wreck the game. He tried to a couple times, but he didn't wreck it. So I'm optimistic that the offensive line can build off of this, because now these guys are kind of playing together for a couple weeks, and then we'll get some of our regular starters back, and it might be a game or two learning curve getting all those guys on the same page. But I saw some, dare I say it, power in the run game. I didn't see people being pushed back as much. There are some negative runs. Some of those stretches did not work out, but they were doing their job in the run game, and they kept Tua upright long enough to him to make plays. That's going to be even more important now because part of the beauty of having a Tyreek is that Tyreek gets open almost immediately. Like, he's so fast that he runs and just throttles down and turns his head, and he's like wide open. We got Jaylen Waddle's fast. He's not Tyreek fast, and no one else is comparable to those guys, which means that the routes are going to take a little bit longer. The windows are going to be smaller, which is why we need Tua to elevate. And some of these plays may be longer developing where it takes these guys longer to get across the field. It takes them longer to get to that post. It takes them longer to clear a zone. And we need time in the pocket to hit those throws because they should be open given how they're going to be drawn up. But if you don't have 2.5 seconds to make the throw, then it doesn't matter how fast or slow the receiver is. We can't do it. So I think this was like the biggest stamp. I'm proud of the O-line because we've been trashing them, rightfully so. They've been awful, but they played well. And when someone plays well, they deserve props. They did their job. Carolina's defensive front is decent. They're not amazing. They have a very talented one corner. The rest of the secondary is not particularly great. So if we can protect them up front, you guys know I'm not the biggest J.C. Horn guy, but he objectively is a good player. I'm not the biggest fan. I think he's overrated. But outside of that, you can throw on Carolina. We just saw what the Patriots did to them. Took them to the woodshed and just went crazy. If we can block up front, I think they can be exploited. I think Tua can do his job. I think we can run on them a little bit. This game, to me, is like the test before the test because after this, we play the Chargers. And the Chargers are all about trench work. They're just Jim Harbaugh. It's D-line being big, O-line being physical. If they play well this week against Carolina, the week after will be the real test of how good his offensive line really is. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and the subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.